Alright guys, recently a message Adam22 sent Lazerdim has been going viral, or more so Lazerdim's response. If you didn't know, Adam asked him for an interview in Lazer's hood, and Lazer said, "Pay me $20,000, basically saying F off, and he posted it to his story. And this isn't even the first time they've gone at it. Adam has actually lashed out on a podcast before. Now, many people think this is hilarious, which it is. Some people think it's a bit uncalled for, but for the most part, everyone is entertaining it because Adam22 is one of the most hated people in hip-hop. But why does Lazer actually hate Adam? Does he believe that Adam is a culture vulture that doesn't care about hip-hop or black culture and exploits his people's trauma for profit? Does he just not like him? Is he greedy? What gives? So I'm gonna walk you through the full story and explain what really happened. Alright, so it all happened or started months back. And this is when Lazerdim first kind of blew up, okay? So you gotta understand, he was just this dude posting trailers, making cool music. Then all of a sudden, and Lazerdim really had like an overnight blow up. Obviously it didn't happen overnight for him. He's been grinding for years, but he just blew up overnight. His sound was like, whoa, you know? And it was just like, dang, right? Anyways, No Jumper DM'd him and they were like, yo, we'd love to do an interview with you when you're back in LA. Come on. And honestly, if you think about it, No Jumper really eroded their brand over the years with all the P-word stuff, the Odd Future website stuff Adam22 did with his wife. So they're kind of trying to like tap back into like the underground young people scene again. And what they've been doing is they've been having a couple, you know, I guess you could say quote unquote underground rappers on. They're still not cool, but they've been kind of tapping back into that. And this makes sense for them, right? Lazerdim, be good for their platform, right? And on the other end, for Lazerdim, although he doesn't need it, it would be very beneficial and it would be helpful to be on a platform such as No Jumper because, you know, you'd get more exposure. You just reach people you wouldn't reach normally. You know, No Jumper has a huge like LA kind of audience. They have like more basic hip hop fans and they might check out that interview and check out his music, right? So it's like a win-win situation. Anyways, Lazerdim's managers charged him, or they didn't charge him because they never got paid, but they were like, yo, you want to do this? It's $5,000. Now, Adam22 does not pay for interviews. I believe Vlad TV does, but it's very, 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 very much a business, the Vlad, and you can kind of tell that the way he runs his thing. And it is with Adam too, but Adam just doesn't do the whole paying thing because he does a lot of interviews and I don't know, it's just not how his operation kind of works. With Vlad, he's almost booking these rappers as if it's an event or a show. Anyways, and not everyone is paid as well too. So Adam doesn't really pay people. So anyways, he's having a podcast with his fellow co-host Remo from No Jumper, Traplo Ross, and Academics. And basically on the podcast, I forgot how it came up, but it just came up. And he said, yo, a rapper named Lazerdim. Academics was like, Lazerdim, who's that? He's thinking it's like some nobody. Tried to charge me $5,000.
They see me and Remo at the Lazerdim concert the other day.
Who's Lazerdim?
He's lit.
He lit? He from West Coast?
He's trying to tax me for an interview, but...
You from Atlanta?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I did hear about him. He popping?
Yeah, you got a whole thing going on.
He's trying to tax you for an interview?
Yeah. These fucking rappers are crazy.
He's trying to pay you for an interview?
No, he's trying to get me to pay him for an interview.
Lazerdim?
Yeah. You're going to end up on his next song.
My nigga.
I know, I was a little offended
savage
too.
in an interview. The fuck am I paying for Lazerdim? No,
I'm
this
like,
is
aren't you supposed to like want to do this? But, you know.
How much you want to?
I'm not going to air that out.
15 bands?
No.
Oh,
it was a more realistic amount. Yeah.
3 bands.
Which that almost offended me more because if somebody's like 20K, it's like, okay, whatever. Like, he's fucking around.
Okay, so first of all, what's funny is at the very end of that clip, Adam22 says, yo, what hurt me even more was it was a more realistic number. Like they were really trying to get me to pay him. And he was like, oh, if they said something like 20K, I'd be like, And what's funny is recently Lazerdim said, yo, give me 20K. Anyways, they were all like, yo, what's wrong with this dude, blah, blah, blah. And one thing he did mention was, hey, I actually went to a Lazerdim show in LA. And I guess you got to give Adam props there because he does not have to be at a Lazerdim show, if we're being real. Obviously, I don't think he liked Lazerdim's music like that, but it's a cool gesture if you think about it. He's showing love. And if you don't know, No Jumper used to throw hella like underground shows. They actually did Lil Pump's and Smoke Perp's first tour. They used to do a bunch of like No Jumper shows. I think it just wasn't as profitable as their main platforms. They just stopped. It was too much of a hassle for Adam. I don't think he could ever like just figure it out, if that makes sense. But they used to do shit like that, you know? So anyways, Lazerdim would later respond on Instagram Live.
You want to charge $5K for an interview? Hell yeah, nigga broke. Well, that ain't doing shit for you. Whatever. just talking crazy. I tried. He ain't the only one that I did that to though. Adam22 only nigga I did that. Unless we doing some activity on the interview.
So first of all, Lazerdim said, hey, I'm broke. You know, I need the money. Like, I can't just do shit for free, bro. And at the end, he said something very important, which a lot of people are looking past. He said, yo, I didn't just say this to him, by the way. I said it to Say Cheese. I said it to everyone else, and multiple people must have hit him up for an interview. Now, I'm not gonna lie. When this situation first happened, I kind of thought it was pretty dumb, because you gotta understand, he was pretty small back then. He's way bigger now, but like, yo, he definitely could have used a couple of these interviews. Like, it's good exposure, if that makes sense, right? It's kind of like real, if that makes sense. Like, oh, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like, bro, you're kind of like a big deal now. It's like a music industry thing, you know. But at the end of the day, it didn't hurt him. At the time, by the way, Lazerdim was never getting hate for any of this. I saw like some comments on Twitter saying, yo, y'all were hating on it back then. Like, bro, nobody was hating on him. People were still clowning Adam22. And what's interesting is a lot of people back then, because Lazerdim did like this Instagram live where he showed how he lived in like a 1-room apartment where he would like put up his air mattress, and they were like, bro, damn, he's really broke. This was like a month after that. I think he'd done like multiple shows. His songs were doing well. Like, he wasn't broke. It was more so just like he wasn't f***ing with you, you know. The transactional, he wanted money, that's it. And at the end of the day, he has every right to do so, but well, like, all right, you know what I mean? Anyways, here's where things would get a little, I'm not gonna say heated, but Adam22, like, okay, by the way, Lazerdim, we've been over this. Lazerdim has done this exact same thing to multiple people, not just Adam22. He probably did it to some radio shows, he probably did it to Say Cheese. I think he said he did it to them too. He probably did it to like a couple other like bigger platforms, okay? They didn't go out and say anything. They didn't go out and say like, yo, he tried to charge me $5K. They just kept their mouth shut and they said, you know, this is the game. You know, sometimes there are people that just don't want to do things, don't take it personal, keep it moving. Adam22 took it personal. At least I think he did, because he called it out in that first podcast. And then later on, interview with Rack Baby, he asked him, yo, do you know about Lazerdim?
You know Lazerdim?
Yeah, I know like who he is. I don't know him.
Oh, yeah, I got a relationship.
I ain't never met him. Yeah.
Making weird music that people aren't necessarily accustomed to yet.
Yeah, weird music.
I mean, like, Lazerdim's dope, but it's like, I'm not, in his current state, I don't think he's going to end up on the radio.
Damn, how you feel? Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's just be real. It's not necessarily the most palatable shit for the mainstream audience. I can understand totally why the underground kids love it and the internet kids, but he might have to change a few things before it's like top 10 hit.
I mean, started doing this thing right now. Ain't a lot of folk loving this shit. So, shit, it's the best bet to keep it going. Why, you feel me? I ain't gonna lie, that lace match, that motherfucker.
You fucking with it?
Yeah, that's my shit.
All right, so I just played the clip. You watched it. Adam22 is clearly a bit salty here, but I'm gonna be honest. What he said about Lazerdim is 100% spot on. Right now, Lazerdim's music is not for the mainstream palette. You know what I mean? In other words, the people who are listening to like Roddy Ricch, Drake, 21 Savage, that type of shit, they're not gonna listen to Lazerdim and be like, this is hard. You know what I mean? It's not gonna happen. He's totally right about that. And I don't think Lazerdim wants to be on the radio. I don't think he wants to be on 95 point blah blah. I don't think he wants to, you know, be doing that shit. Maybe later on when he's a bit older, but I think he's perfectly fine where he's at right now. You can still make great money, you can still do great shit, and still be totally fine and not have to like sell out your sound to a more mainstream audience, and then your core fans start losing interest because they no longer feel like your music's creative, and then, you know what I mean? And that type of change is better over the course of like 5, 6 years, 10 years, like with Lucky, yeah, and what fans are saying now, rather than like, oh we gotta go mainstream. All right, man, we gotta make you a star, dude. And it's like, no, don't do that, bro. So while I do understand the hate, I don't really, or not the hate, the criticism Adam22 is getting, it just doesn't like, it doesn't totally stand. That makes sense. But he was being honest. Like, I wouldn't call this straight hating. Like, he wasn't really saying anything wrong, if that makes sense. Anyways, so you can see they've been throwing, and I'll just show you the screenshot too. Basically, Lazerdim posted on a story that Adam22 said, yo, we're gonna be in Atlanta on the 6th. Let's do a video going to them damn brick buildings you always at. Lol, I want to do something with you and Dirtball and either way, if you're not into that idea. He said 20K. And he said 2 very bad words I can't say to you guys on YouTube. Sorry. Anyways, sorry, I don't know why I said it like that. My bad. I apologize, guys. And this was kind of, I don't know why, For some reason, like when one news page posts something, everybody just posts it. Like everyone's like, yo, blah, 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 you know, and you gotta understand Adam22 is super hated. Like I don't even think I need to go into depth there. So people just love to see him getting like people love this. Like, yo. And I'm not gonna lie, Lazerdim might even start a trend here. Like you might see more rappers just be like, yo, why am I copying on this platform? I don't know if you guys remember this. I believe Adam22 went on this like finance YouTubers, this finance why do I say finance like that? This finance YouTubers podcast, and he was like, I make like $1 million, like No Jumper pulls like $1 million a month. And Polo G dissed them. He was like, he said something about like these media pages be like making more money off these rappers, blah blah blah. And yeah, No Jumper definitely is making enough money to pay some of their guests, similar to Vlad. Obviously, that would affect their profit margins. Once you pay one person, now you got to pay everybody. You know what I mean? So I don't really see Adam22 doing that, but it would be interesting to see if that happened. Anyways, I do want to go into some like the fan reactions to like this whole thing. Someone said, laser funny as oh, that's George Peretti. Shut up, bro. If you want to talk down on an artist and then expect something from them later, then you better expect this, to be honest. So, you know, me from like a YouTuber YouTuber standpoint, you gotta understand that like you can't change your opinions for someone, or like you kind of have to be okay with just being honest. And if it gets on someone's nerves, you know, you just charge it to the game. So honestly, him being honest is cool, but as we said, it was most likely like a salty remark. So that adds context. Lazerdim is not anywhere close to being in a position to charge money for an interview. LMAO, he's getting exposure from it, but not all exposure is good. Does Lazerdim not realize that he could have gotten mainstream attention from that interview? He just blew it. Someone else said, Laser too real. I'd tax the culture vultures too, not gonna lie. So we're just gonna assume that Adam's ROI would be worth 20K for this dude. All right, so I'm gonna break down a little YouTube for you. And before I do that, I'm actually gonna explain one thing really quick. So it's clearly there are two people on the side. There's one side where it's just like, culture vulture, screw that guy, we gotta charge him. And honestly, I understand that. If you really feel that way about him, you know, then it's totally valid for you to, you know, have that reaction. And that whole culture vulture thing is like a whole another topic, and I'll actually make another video on that, on another situation that happened recently. But anyways, back to the topic. The other side is like, yo, this is stupid. Why would he do this? It's clearly not worth that. All right, so let's talk about what it's worth. If Adam were to pay $20,000 for an interview to Lazerdim, for it to be worth it, he'd have to make more money on top of it, if we're being real, because it's a business. You know, you don't just break even. Because think about it, if you're spending time to do something, you've lost time, which, you know, you break even, doesn't really make sense. $20,000 to make $20,000 off of an interview. By the way, you gotta think, to monetize it, he has to cut out all the cuss words, he can't have him smoking, and it's like a 1 hour, 2 hour long interview. If he's lucky, he's gonna get like a good watch time, and he'll make anywhere from $5 to $10 per 1,000 views. Maybe, and this is for like long videos. The longer your videos are, the more the money they make. It's how it kind of works. It obviously caps at a certain amount, but I'm gonna be generous and say he makes 6 to 8. Let's just say 7, maybe 10, but I don't know with the content he does. He would have to get 3 million views. For context, the last time like Lil Durk, not even Lil Durk, like the last like Juice WRLD studio sessions now have like 5 million, or like viral moments where there's like a pimp on the thing, or you know, a Lil Xan day in the life back in the day, or like 6ix9ine's interview has that. You gotta understand that did not make $21,000. That video is probably demonetized. You know what I mean? Like that video probably made like 12, 15, and it was over like 5 years. You gotta understand. So he would never be able to make 20K back. 5K, honestly, that's a bit more realistic, but even then, it's hard to like make money on it, if that makes sense, right? And yeah, so it just doesn't make sense for him. At the end of the day, though, Lazerdim can do whatever the he wants. I do want to say one thing though, and I said it the last time they said, yo, screw you, give me 5K. I think no matter what your opinion on Adam22 is, or how much you like Lazerdim, you still kind of gotta admit this is like a dumb thing to do. You know, just hopping on No Jumper would give you a lot of exposure, and this is what a lot of the people in the comments are saying. You can kind of tell like the older fans and like the younger fans, because the older fans are like, yo, this is retarded, and the younger fans are like, ah, or just the people that don't like Adam22, and I guess just everything in between. But back to what I was saying, there is going to be a time when Lazerdim is not as hot as he is right now. His sound is no longer going to be like new or fresh. People are going to kind of get tired of it. They're going to be tired of the same old flows. They're going to be tired of the same old beats. They're going to be tired of the same old image, and they're not going to really care about him. There's going to be a new Lazerdim. There's going to be Baser Mim or some, I don't know, I'm just with you. But you know, some random new rapper. And that could be 6 months from now, that could be 3 months from now, that could be a year from now, that could be 2 years from now. But you know, rappers have life cycles, right? It happens, especially underground rappers. They have even shorter life cycles, you know? Or they go through some pretty big slumps, you know? You can look at a lot of those 2021 guys. What are they doing now? Does anyone care about them? Right? Do you see them on your feed? Like, you check out their music? You know, there might be a day when that happens to Lazerdim, and having relationships like this with platforms such as No Jumper and others could come in handy. You know, when you're trying to promote something, you could reach out to them. They'd probably have you on. This is why people, you know, kind of do like this in the music industry. And him not having any of these connections and just, you know, when he was hot saying you, this and that, it's gonna hurt him. For example, and this is kind of ironic because this is about Adam22. Adam22 used to be very good friends with Lil Xan, and I remember I used to watch like some of his vlogs back in the day. And I forget if it was a vlog or interview where he said this, but he said when Lil Xan was hot, he was disrespecting every page. He had a Genius interview or some with the lyrics. He said, "F them, I'm making this much money, I'm not gonna do it." And his manager was like, "Hey, bro, you know, in the future we might need help. We might need Genius's help to promote our stuff. You know that, right? You understand this is a relationship, and if we flake on them, this is like a production they're doing. They're not gonna be very happy with us. They're not gonna be very favorable towards us." He's like, "F them, blah, blah, blah." And that's kind of where Lazerdim is operating from, and even his management, which I'm not gonna lie, is kind of unprofessional and a bit like, if you really think about it, just being honest, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's that deep, because, you know, he has done stuff with like Kids Take Over, and he's doing stuff with other platforms. I just think he doesn't want to, like, if it's like a big platform that he knows is making money, he's just trying to make money off it. But I think there's more to it. It's not that, like, you understand, not all the value is in like upfront money, you know? There's more to it. But anyways, that's my like real 2 cents. Let me know if you watch the end of this video, because a lot of people, they just watch the video or see the thumbnail and title and comment, like, really comment what you think, and like really think like, yo, is this really like the smartest thing to do? Should he really have done this? You know? Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and see you tomorrow. Bye. I appreciate all you guys for watching. This was a bit of a long one.